who are now outside the House of Commons.
So I'm going to hand over to representatives of some of the parties that are here today. Firstly, over to Kirsty from the SNP.
Thank you. It is absolutely shocking that in this time where we're in a time of constitutional crisis, the Prime Minister is putting his own interests first, and he's decided to prorogue Parliament. And you know, the judgment in the Scottish courts today that was unlawful, we absolutely agree with that judgment. We are ready and waiting for Parliament to sit. Ian Blackford has today written to the Prime Minister asking for Parliament to be recalled, and we believe that that should happen as a matter of urgency. The other thing that we believe should happen is the documents that we put through the rules about on Monday, that are supposed to be published by 11 p.m. tonight. We need to see those documents. They must be published. Parliamentarians, even if he doesn't recall, we do have the opportunity to scrutinise those documents. But I'm really glad that we're here as a cross-party group of MPs. We've been working together, and we'll keep working together to do everything that we can, particularly to avoid a no-deal Brexit and to scrutinise this government.
I'm going to bring in Rosie Duffield.
We should be in that chamber. It's where the public expect us to be. We've got a hell of a lot of work to do, sifting through these yellowhammer documents when we eventually see them, and getting on with sorting out what we're going to do with Brexit. That is the seat of British democracy, and we are being blocked from being there. And instead, the government are spending taxpayers' money on taking themselves essentially to court, which is farcical. We need to stop this, and we will.
Thank you. I'm going to hand over to Joe Swinson.
It's astonishing that we are even in this situation, that we have a Prime Minister that is so determined to evade scrutiny and accountability that he's prepared to shut down Parliament for 5 weeks at a time of national crisis, where people out there are genuinely worried about what happens. The court decision has said that that is unlawful, and the strength of feeling across parties is powerful. This number of MPs being here today, and as Stephen says, supported by so many other members of Parliament from across the country as people's representatives, wanting to make sure that we do our job, scrutinising the government, particularly when he is trying to force the country, the Prime Minister is trying to force the country into a disastrous no-deal Brexit. We have shown in the last 10 days that we are prepared to work together across parties in the national interest, and our resolve remains absolutely firm that we will do that.
Mike Gates.
Thank you very much, Stephen. We live in a representative parliamentary democracy, and if Parliament is prorogued, there are no questions, no answers from ministers, no select committees, no questioning at all. And one of the effects of this prorogation is that bills have been taken out which had gone through stages in the Commons, including, for example, an immigration bill. EU nationals in this country and British citizens in Europe are facing a totally uncertain future. Parliament needs to be sitting. The court judgment is a very important indication, and many millions of British people, including those living in other EU countries, will hope that Parliament will be recalled as soon as possible so that we can settle their worries and concerns.
I'm bringing in lastly my colleague Lisanna Berger, who joined the Church House Declaration with me.
Thank you. Well, there were hundreds of MPs that put their name to this in the height of summer, and we did so because we thought there was the threat of prorogation. And what did the Prime Minister do? He has closed down our Parliament. He has essentially gagged our democracy and prevented our constituents' voices from being heard. We need to have full disclosure of the Project Yellowhammer report tonight. We need to have full disclosure on the real reason why our Parliament behind us stands closed. But we come together today because we believe that it should be open. We should be sat in that House of Commons. We should be holding this government and its ministers to account, because in 50 days' time we are due to crash out on a no-deal Brexit, and we should be doing everything possible to prevent that.
We are all going to be returning to our offices. We're going to be going back inside the Palace of Westminster because we're here, we're ready to work, we're ready here to represent our constituents, to speak up for them, the people who have democratically elected us. I think it's well worth remembering that today, not only have we seen this judgment that the government acted unlawfully, but we have had number 10 Downing Street briefing against the judges, against the independent judiciary in this country, which is an extraordinary situation and absolutely to be condemned, in the same week that they have politicised the police, they have shut Parliament, and they have been found to have acted unlawfully. This is an extraordinarily serious time for our country, and we're working together across party to hold this government to account, and we'll continue to do so. Thank you very much.
What do you actually propose to do now? Are you all going to stay here in the Palace of Westminster? Are you going to go to sit in the chamber?
Well, I think we're going to go back into the building. We all got jobs to be doing. We've got meetings to be taking place. We've all got constituents to be representing, and we're going to do that in the best ways that we think is appropriate. But we all made very, very clear that there are alternative locations, and that was why we brought together the Church House Declaration just a few weeks ago. And ultimately, we will find other ways of holding this government to account.
Let's be clear what we're not doing today as well. Only this afternoon, the Prime Minister was due to appear in front of the liaison committee with select committee chairs questioning him directly, and he's dodged that by proroguing Parliament, which the court has said is illegal.
Well, why are you ignoring England's High Court judgment?
We're not. The English High Court judgment we also considered in the Supreme Court. This is a matter of great seriousness for the whole country, and the fact that any court in this land has found the government to have acted unlawfully and to be having to go to the Supreme Court, I think, is incredibly serious. And to have 10 Downing Street briefing against judges and saying that they are politicised, I think is deeply reprehensible. And one has to ask how on earth the Lord Chancellor and others can continue to justify this. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
So that's the cross-party group, the